Sai Vidmahe Satya Devaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let's start the webinar by offering our loving salutations at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Swami and loving Sairam to you all. This webinar is specifically meant for New Zealand devotees. I would like to thank the panelists for taking time and doing that. You can ask questions online as the webinar is going on. In case if you want to remain anonymous, you have the option of selecting that while typing the question. If you're not able to do it, you can request the admin to make you anonymous so that your name will not appear when the question comes up, right? So that way you can remain anonymous. I would request Brother Murali to do the welcome address before we start.
Sai Ram, my humble pranams at the lotus feet of our beloved Bhagavan, our Lord, our Master, our guide, and our friend. I take this opportunity on behalf of the Sri Sat Sai Overseas Organization of New Zealand and many Sai devotees here in New Zealand to welcome Sri Ratnakar, the Managing Trustee of the Sri Sat Sai Central Trust, Sri Naganand, Trustee of the Sri Sat Sai Central Trust, and Sri Nimish Pandya, the President of All India Sri Sat Sai Seva Organization, to this webinar today to share their thoughts and answer some specific questions about this global council to the devotees all over New Zealand. Dear brothers and sisters, our spiritual sadhana in our beloved Bhagavan's mission is very important to each one of us. The inspiration that Swami has given us through his own life is so important for each one of us in carrying out this sadhana. We need a very strong and supportive organization to do this. Unfortunately, we are going through some challenging times. We have been disconnected from our parent. We are being misdirected and misinformed in this process. Just as the roots of a tree seek nourishment below to blossom into a wholesome tree, we all personally need that connection with Prashanti to inspire us spiritually, charge us, and help us in our spiritual growth. What has been slowly setting in is the rot in the roots. The connection is being snapped. The tree at the top will gradually be affected over time. We need the unity, the nourishment, and we need to work as one team. That is the reason Global Council was formed to help in this cohesion and unity. Still without any of its constituent units losing their autonomy. Instead of supporting this constructive proposal, we are scrabbling over personalities and behaviors, in the process forgetting the unity and love that Bhagavan wants us to exude, the very essence of our Bhagavan's teachings. All Sai brothers and sisters in New Zealand, let us all work as one with the Global Council. Let us all connect ourselves to the source, that is Swami, his name, his form, his abode, and his teachings. The panel here is to clarify and allay any fears and misconceptions that some are harboring. They are here to help us overcome these barriers that we have in our mind. And hopefully we respond with our heart to the challenges that we face today. We have to take the next step. After this session, if anyone is still having any questions, please do contact me and my team. We're always here to build a united Sai organization in New Zealand. I once again welcome the speakers to this webinar and thank them for their presence here. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Thank you very much, Brother Murali. Now, the agenda for today would be, it's very simple. We'll have 3 panelists, each speaker at the beginning speaking about 7 to 10 minutes. Then we'll have question and answer sessions where you can ask questions live, but we also have a few questions already received, which we'll be asking. After the question answers, then we'll have a brief closing session where the panelists would summarize the entire question answer session. That way we'll proceed. Now, I would request Brother Ratnakar, the Managing Trustee of Sathya Central Trust, to address the gathering.
Thank you, Mahesh. Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most reverential salutations at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Master. As I've been traveling, and right now I'm on my way to Puttaparthi, so I'm in the car. So sorry if it's not very clear, or I hope it's presentable from here. Thank you, Murli. I think you summarized everything in a nutshell, the whole what's happening at the current times. And all the brothers and sisters from New Zealand, very loving Sairam to each one of you. We have Brother Naganand, Brother Nimish Pandya, whom you all already know them. And this again, today we are meeting the brothers and sisters and Sai Devotees from New Zealand, just because we've been hearing that there are still some more doubts, though entire New Zealand nation has joined Prashanti Nilayam. Yeah, the doubts are there because a lot of things have been told out of context, and a lot of things have been being talked about which are unfounded. But let me assure you, brothers and sisters from New Zealand, not only from New Zealand, entire Sai organization all over the globe, that the global Sri Sathya Sai Global Council was formed only for the sake of unity and not for a division. And a lot of people think that Central Trust is going to control, and Central Trust is going to want to usurp the power, which is absolutely not true, because right now on our panel, Brother Nimish Pandya is also sitting, who heads almost 95% of Sathya Sai organization in the world, which is India. If you see membership-wise, if you see the reach-wise, if you see the sheer the size of it, they have 27 states where active trusts are working. There are millions of Sai devotees who are members. A voluntary base itself nearly 1 million, and a huge, they have 300,000 Balavikas children right now taking 35,000 Balavikas teachers, gurus, and hundreds and thousands of young adults. So he's sitting with us on the panel. So he must have made a very informed decision. And he deals with us on a day-to-day basis in Sathya Sai Central Trust, and I can go on record because of the support from the devotees of from various states who come and render voluntary service in Prashanti Nilayam. It would be difficult for Central Trust to conduct the regular functioning of Prashanti Nilayam. It's a huge support from Sathya Sai organization, Seva Organization India. They all come. And believe me, you can ask anytime brothers Nimish is on the board, on the panel. Brother Naganand also will definitely agree with me that we have never interfered into any of the working of Sathya Sai Seva Organization, SSSO in India. We never interfere. And Mr. Nimish Pandya is free to even appoint anybody, appoint his state presidents, appoint his national coordinators, he has a national council where there is a representation from Sathya Central Trust. Dr. Mohan from Sathya Central Trust, a member of Sathya Central Trust, is on his council, national council. It is not interference. It is more of a support. It is not, any way we infringe upon his authority, or it's a very friendly, a family, a cohesive team. So today, the Sri Sathya Sai Global Council was envisioned only for that sake, that we need to have a institutional mechanism to connect every Sai institution in the world, every Sai devotee in the world to Prashanti Nilayam. This is the only noble and enlightened cause behind this, and the thinking which has gone behind. Unfortunately, some are able to see, some are not able to see. And, Swami loved New Zealand devotees, and, Swami gave New Zealand a name, New Sai Land. He lent his name not only to the organization, lent his name to your country, just to identify himself with the devotees of New Zealand. So, Sathya Sai Central Trust, what is that Sathya Sai Central Trust can gain by disturbing the international organization? Is it in our interest? It will not. It will never help any one of us to disturb each other. The only reason Sri Sathya Sai Global Council was formed, so that we all together safeguard the future of institutions. We have seen what happened in Mudanahalli. We have seen people who are part of our organization, who went away and they took Swami's name surreptitiously, and took a lot of devotees for try to create some sort of false narratives, saying about Swamis being seen, heard, and things like that. Whatever. So we don't want one more repeat of such things, and we need an institutional mechanism to which all of us, I think, owe it as a instruments and humble servants in Swami's mission. So in this endeavor, Sathya Sai Global Council, Sri Sathya Sai Global Council was envisioned. It was conveyed properly to all the stakeholders, including Dr. Narendranath Reddy, who is a chairman of SSIO, Mr. Nimish Pandya. In fact, we had 3 of us were authorized by the respective institutions to discuss and finalize the modalities. So this is when we all met, and myself, Nimish, and Dr. Narendranath Reddy, we had hours of discussions on this. We assured, reassured, and doubly assured, saying that Sathya Sai Central Trust has no intention of running any of the organization, either Indian organization or international organization. Sathya Sai Central Trust is already, there are super specialty hospitals are there, universities, schools, the social far-reaching projects like water projects, housing. Our hands are full, and we have no intention to run the organizations. Organizations are being run anyway beautifully. So we have no intention. Only thing is we need to connect to everybody to Prashanti Nilayam. All institutionally we should connect. That is all the intention. And I think it's amply made clear to one and all in our structure. Everybody had a place, Prashanti Council, World Foundation, the chairmen and the zone chairs, everybody were part of it. And what did we say? Appointments are being done at the Executive Committee 1, which is the International Executive Committee. And it will be done by them. Only 3 representatives of Central Trust who are part of Global Council also will be present in the Executive Committee. Beyond that, we have not said anything. So I think these more details will be dealt by Brother Naganand, and more on organization. And so what right now we are doing is, as for 95th birthday of Bhagavan, we had promised about this and we had informed. Instead of coming to table for discussing and sorting it out, for some strange reason, SSIO decided to go and started sort of if I am permitted to say again, because today that we started an attack campaign sort of thing and calling so many things about Central Trust and trustees. We were we could understand that there is some misunderstanding of sorts, and we tried to allay all the fears and we tried to talk to them. In fact, after all that, what they called and they said, and mails have been sent to Central Trust, we still went ahead and met them, and when they requested for a call. And see, here, most important thing which all of us should understand is whether it is a managing trustee of Central Trust or All India President or international organization chairman, or even up to center level, center presidents and center office bearers. We are all here only for one reason. We are here for spiritual reason. We are here for Bhagwan. There's the only pull. In the introductory remarks, Murli beautifully said, how can you be cut off from the roots? When you're cut off from the roots, for a time being, the branches and leaves may look green, but very soon they will be dry because you're cut off from the roots. A river can flow as long as it is not cut off from its source. The moment it is cut off from its source, very soon it will dry up. So that is what we were trying to tell. And there was no wrong intention of infringing on anybody's authority, anybody's domain. International organization would have worked in its own domain freely. And Sathya Sai, as Sathya Sai Seva Organization India is doing it. There's no problem. We are brothers, and nobody's sitting opposite to each other, or they're not in enemy camp or things like that. We were all together, children of Swami, playing in the same Prashanti Nilayam. So how can anybody, any devotee or any organization will think that they can be without Prashanti connection? Anyhow, we have traveled too far for this, and nearing 900 centers are registered with the Global Council. On a Guru Purnima day, as we had promised and made promise to Swami, it is Swami's Sankalpam. It is not we are deciding or anything like that. But for his Sankalpa, but for his will, this would have not been happening today. So it is Swami's will. I cannot see any other possible reason why SSIO leaders could not say yes or could not see such a simple thing. I have explained to many strangers about what I've sent this document. They say anybody should be able to happily accept this. But anyhow, then they joined for a while, and again a discussion, then again withdrew. And one important thing which we need to know is that that Sathya Sai Central Trust doesn't belong to Ratnakar. It is not Ratnakar's own. Similarly, Sathya Sai organizations neither belongs to Indian organization. Nimish is very, how many times he says, we are all here to serve Bhagwan. We are servants of Bhagwan. We are not owners. Reddy, Dr. Narendra Reddy owns Sathya Sai International Organization. We are all here and we are just transit passengers. We are not owners, or we are not be here forever. So while we are here, God has given us the opportunity to be in a responsible position where we can make meaningful decisions. We should be true to Bhagwan and make those decisions. Nothing else. So, brothers and sisters, please do not have anything maybe. And one important thing, sorry if I'm taking a little longer, because when New Zealand was registered by Brother Murli, we were all very happy, but again, there have been some bickerings and a lot of good people from New Zealand, all of them. In fact, I fondly remember New Zealand people, New Zealand devotees were working for Christmas decoration, and we fondly remember all of them, Mr. Selvan Naidu, Murli, all of them came, many of them. they were doing. And in fact, many times whenever I look around Kulwanthal, I remember in New Zealand and Sai Devotees from New Zealand, because those beautiful photographs, beautiful Swami's pictures are a contribution from New Zealand. So it's a constant reminder, and you are permanently connected. Nobody, New Zealand is very, very strongly connected to Prashant Nilayam, because whenever we look around in Kulwanthal, it's New Zealand's love for Swami which gets reflected. So that is what we have been asking. Now Swami, I think, has his own plans, and Global Council has been launched. And we had nearly 800 during Guru Purnima. Now nearly under 60, 70 have come, another 30, I understand. They're all there, nearing 900. 70 confirmedly have come. And you see Australia came in a big numbers. In fact, more than 2/3 of Australia is already registered, and they have their own council. And from 24th of July to last 1 month, we have appointed a complete structure in America, in Canada, in West Indies. We appointed a council in Sri Lanka. So it is going on. We are going to do it in Europe shortly. So even in New Zealand, you are doing good work. You have a new council, and Australia completely they have already started beautiful programs. And I'm so happy that many people in a global council, devotees, keep sending me messages, sending us mails saying that we are free, we are happy to do a lot of things. Now, a beautiful program of 96 days, because 96th birthday, 96 days of sadhana is launched by Australian devotees. So wonderful. They are feeling joyful. They are doing what Swami would like, because our Divine Father would like us to be connected to him rather than anybody else. Similarly, in Middle East, in Africa, we had a call with Africa, South Africa, Mauritius. They're all in almost in South Africa, except entire nation, they clicked it. Mauritius, entire nation, they clicked it. And they are huge. The top 5 countries, like, we have Nepal, we have America, we have South Africa, Mauritius, UK. All 5 countries have joined Global Council. In America, a part of it is still with SSIO, but a major part has joined Global Council. It's a very happening centers. Nearly, I understand yesterday when I was talking to US, they said we are reaching 80 centers, and most of them are happening centers. The most active centers are joined, not joining, joined. We have the entire, they are dealing with us. So it's very, very important that we connect to Prashant Nilayam, not to Ratnakar, not to Reddy, not to anybody. We are very simple people. We are also like any one of you. We are fellow devotees. We are not special people here. Central Trust or any organization office bearer. It is not a spiritual position. All the positions in the organization are positions of service, not the positions of influence, positions of authority, positions of power, but positions of service. That we should all understand. Then only, out of respect, we can extend the respect to each other, but all of us fall at the same feet. Anybody, whether it is trustee, I am a marrying trustee, I don't have any special spiritual powers. I also fall at the same feet of Bhagavan, like anyone. We are fellow devotees. So we should understand this simple, initiative which we all, a lot of elderly people, lot of people who have spent decades of their life at lotus feet, all have come together to decide this. It is not one individual and people talk about power and control. What control we can have? Believe me, I have Sathya Nation, which is, they have centers even 10 kilometers from Prashant Nilayam. I don't have any idea. I have no control. So what control? In spirituality, there's no control. Spirituality, it is all about cooperation, not control. It's about coordination, cooperation, and respect each other, love each other. It's no controls can be acting. It's a voluntary organization. Who can control who? So the very concept somebody is saying control, I think they've got it wrong. I think they don't have any place in Sai organizations if the people talk about controls and authorities. We are all, Sai Sevaks. We are servants of God. Managing trustee is the first servant in Prashanti Nilayam. He is not the boss there. Boss is only Bhagwan. Anywhere in Sai mission, boss is only Bhagwan. Nobody else. So I think we should put aside all differences and we should move on. Okay. And I am so happy that you all taken this time off to check with us, and individually taking individual names and taking, especially attacking Ratnakar or managing trustees doesn't make any, and all flimsy things. Sorry to tell these things but these are being discussed and sent out by some of the SSSO officials. All of misinformation. Airport is being sold out. Yeah. If there is a institutionally some decision is taken, that has to be followed. Nobody can sell anything. It's not some torch or matchbox which can be sold just like that between two individuals. It's institutions. Government is involved. Government audits our accounts. For money's sake, we want to take over SSSO. Brothers, please, I have already explained about these things in many Zoom calls. The contribution of SSIO official institutions to Prashanti Nilayam Sathya Sai Central Trust after Mahasamadhi has been only less than $3 million. Whereas Sathya Sai Central Trust has spent $200 million in after Mahasamadhi on various hospitals and university schools and things like that. Where is $200 million? Where is $2.97 million? So they say for money. See, it's all distortion. We shouldn't believe all this. And people talking about, individuals and, bringing in 2011 some press cuttings and are we here for, whom are we here? If we are falling to that level, what is that Sai organization has made difference to us? It's a spiritual progress. Unless we do that, it won't be worthwhile for us to spend time in a spiritual organization where the Lord, the Avatar himself has come. The Avatar himself is, if we lose out on this great opportunity, it's a very rare that human beings get a chance to be contemporaries to an Avatar. So let's be on a positive note. Let's move on. And I know a lot of young adults also, various countries, a lot of young adults be in touch with me. They say, sir, we want to do a lot of things. We want to plan for centenary celebrations and 100th year of Bhagwan. We want all the youth in, even in Australia and New Zealand to join and come up, and in a big way, we need to put it up in for Baba's 100th birthday. We also want all the office bearers, whoever. See, there's no exclusion in spirituality. There's no exclusion for Swami. All of us had our own shortcomings, but still Swami took us together, all of us too close to him, and made us, worthy of his love. So nobody, no exclusions. We are all, children of Swami. Let us be together, and let us all share this joy, share this love, and let us continue. I'm happy to be, connecting to devotees from New Zealand, and we will be working together. We will be, and Prashanti Nilayam is your home. Please do not have any hesitation about anything in Prashanti Nilayam. Prashanti Nilayam is the most beautiful place, and the way Swami's grace, it vibrates the way Swami's physical presence even today and forever, whether it's irrespective of any individuals. Individuals cannot make difference to God. God, sunlight cannot. Sun rises, sun is bright. None of us, whatever we think of him or whatever we do, we cannot dim the light. That is sun. So similarly, Bhagwan's divinity cannot be, tarnished or blocked or reduced by anybody, whether it is X, Y, Z. So it is beyond any human power. So please be very assured that Prashanti Nilayam He always welcomes you, always be part of it. We have no reservations on welcoming anybody. We have given certain do's and don'ts for who's for opting for programs and things like that, which is a functional arrangement. It is nothing to do with so please feel free to ask any question. We are here. We have no problem in clearing your doubts. Thank you very much, and I welcome New Zealand again to this wonderful family of Bhagwan. Thank you so much, Sai. Brother Naganand.
Sai Ratnakar, thank you so much for very emotional opening speech. I can understand what you are going through. You know, when within a small country, when we have bombarded with so many questions at the National Council, what we have been facing, we can understand you addressing the entire world and facing those questions. We are completely with you.
Thank you, man.
Now I would request Brother SS Naganand, Trustee, Sai Central Trust, to give a few opening remarks. Brother, may I request you to keep the introduction slightly shorter? The reason being we have...
Sorry, Mahesh, I exceeded my time, but...
No problem. You covered a lot of things which are there in the form of questions. So when you are answering the questions, probably that can be shortened because you already covered those things.
Okay.
I know the intention is covering all the doubts of the devotees in whatever form.
Okay.
That will
let
Naganand
sir come. Yeah.
Yes. Over to you, Brother Naganand. And Brother Naganand, by profession, is a very eminent lawyer. So all the legal questions what are going around here and what are lingering in our minds will be definitely cleared with when he's talking with knowledge and wisdom, not just superficially. So let's keep that in mind. Over to you, Brother Naganand.
Om Shri Sai Ram. My humble pranams and reverential pranams at Bhagwan's lotus feet. Dear brothers Murli and Mahesh and fellow devotees from New Zealand and other countries who have joined. The very fact that about 102 devotees have joined on a Saturday night for this satsang in New Zealand is demonstrative of the fact that the Sai organization and the devotees in New Zealand are very keen devotees of Bhagwan. Because in this current world, who would like to come and sit in and talk to old people like me on a Saturday night, and that too on a very mundane subject? I was allotted 17 minutes. I've been asked to cut down something, so I'll try to reduce it by 3-4 minutes. And I'm sure I'll finish it in about less than 15 minutes. I think what we have to say is in a very limited sphere. The situation is, I need to place before you the genesis of this and what was actually done. When Swami was physically with us, I have been very closely associated and been blessed to be in proximity of Bhagwan in all organizational matters, legal matters, everything, right from sometime just after 97 onwards. Most decisions that were taken, Baba, of course, it was Baba's decisions. It is not that I assisted in decision making. It was entirely Baba's decision. But Swami's style of management was so beautiful. It is the best managerial style that you can think of. If an idea originated in his mind and which needed some secular issue to be sorted out, on spiritual issues, of course, we have no role, then he would beautifully talk to either me or Mr. Chakravarti, Mr. Srinivasan, earlier Indulal Shah, Mr. K.R. Prasad. These are the people, who are there. And whenever this idea is thought of, we all get into a huddle and we look at what is to be done. And finally, we would place it before Bhagwan, and in his immense gratitude and blessing, he would bless it. Now, what happened was that during Swami's personal sojourn on this earth, all decisions, big, small, indifferent, and you can say there was nothing that happened without Swami's direct involvement. It was so involved that every single rupee that was spent by Central Trust was going under the signature of Swami's check. Not that he was signing hundreds of checks, but there was a methodology by which he would approve everything. And without his signature, no, not 1 rupee was drawn. So what I'm trying to say is that was the level of supervision that and blessing that we all had when Bhagavan was physically with us. Same thing with organization. Swami set up the organization for us, no, for us to do seva, for us to go on the path, for us to realize what is God by doing seva. That is the whole object of the seva organization. So in the seva organization also, Swami worked exactly in the same manner. He had full control about who are the office bearers, what they should do, what program they should do, how they should sit, which bhajan should be sung. It was, really, it was a macro and a micro level management was Swami's. Now, you see, a few years before Mahasamadhi, Swami decided that, there must be some more democratization, or what shall I say, expansion of the manner in which these institutions work. So he inducted a few people into the Council of Management. He created a new trust. And a year before Mahasamadhi, Swami also blessed and introduced trustees into the central trust, which for most of the time Swami was doing on his own all the years. Now, when that happened, there was an institutional framework that was set up. Now, when Swami was handling all this international and national organization and giving them guidance, I am personally aware that many times when International President Dr. Goldstein would come to Prashanti Nilayam or to Trai Vrindavan, if Swami had to give him instructions, he would call him into Trai and explain to him. And many times, somebody like me or someone else would be called in because sometimes Goldstein would not understand Swami's language. So therefore, we had to interpret. Means it was a direct command. Now, with that going away, it became necessary for us to now set in place. How is it that we connect these three institutions that are now working? There is a central trust, which is a public trust. There is an international organization, and there is the Indian organization, Seva organizations. These three are independently run. Now, for many years, Mr. V. Srinivasan was the All India President. He was also a trustee on the board of the Central Trust. Now, after Mr. V. Srinivasan's time, he designated and appointed Nimish Pandya to be the All India President. Now, Mr. Nimish Pandya is not a member of the Central Trust. And by nature of things, you see, his onerous responsibilities do not permit him enough time to come and sit on the board meetings of the Central Trust. Same thing with us. None of us are there sitting on his thing, except now, the last few years, he has set up a national council in which he said, we want Central Trust representative to be with us. And the Central Trust has requested Dr. V. Mohan, one of our trustees, to be a member of the National Council. So there is now a bridge built between us. A similar bridge is necessary between these two organizations and the International Seva Organization. So that is how this idea of a global council came up. Now, after a great deal of deliberations, it was decided just before the last year's birthday, Swami's birthday, 23rd November, that we would make an announcement. Few days before that, the board requested me to speak to Dr. Reddy. I had a chat with him. I told him this is what we have in mind. And, we are planning to make an initial announcement. And the implementation of this is going to not take place immediately. There'll be a lot of time for discussion. And all this discussion can take place from November till July next year, that is July of 2021. And the only answer I got was, no, we need more time to think of it. Let COVID settle down. Then I will come to meet all of you and then we can take it forward. So the trustees then decided that, this after all, the need is that we must set up an organizational structure in which all the three organizations sit together at a table. The Global Council is not an institution or an organization set up to take over anybody. It is to include everybody. The Global Council it has only three trustees from the Central Trust. It has representatives of the national organization. All the members of the international organization are members of the Global Council. Imagine the number of members. Brother Ratnakar was just giving you the numbers now. Some 80, 90 of them have already joined, like that number. 800 centers have joined. Now, these are the people who are going to comprise the Global Council. And Central Trust has only got three people in it. And presently, we have requested Sri Ratnakar Garu, one of the oldest serving Swami's devotees who have worked with Swami for so many years. Right from 1980, he has been directly associated with every new project that Swami has done. Be it the water project, be it the modernization of the university, anything.
Mr. Chakravarti.
I'm talking about Mr. Chakravarti. Yeah, he has been associated with all of this. And he is now currently the chancellor of the university. So we requested him as a fatherly figure to head this. And there are two other nominees, myself and brother Dr. Mohan. Only 3 of us are there. So what is this control they're talking about? What is this takeover that they're talking about? The whole narrative has been completely missed. Now look at it. Now we are getting this new organization together, and the effective working of this organization is going to be in 2 committees. There is one executive committee for overseas, one executive committee for India. Now, who are going to be in these executive committees? They are overseas devotees are going to be there. The zonal officers are going to be there. The chair of the international organization is going to be there. And in the Indian organization, you're going to have the All India president and office bearers from that. These 2 bodies are going to take day-to-day decisions. What is wrong with it? I'm not able to understand. What objection can anybody have? There is no right of veto. All decisions have been taken by simple majority of votes. Even if I'm a member, and if I feel, no, this is not correct, I can only express my views, but the majority decision will be taken. All office bearers will be appointed by a very transparent process. It is not that Mr. Chakravarti or me or Central Trust will just write one letter to say you are dismissed, somebody is appointed. That's not what is contemplated. What is contemplated is there's an institutional organizational structure, and there is a selection process. There is an appointments committee. That committee is going to look at areas, look at persons, give a recommendation to the executive committee. The executive committee will take a decision. And formally, when executive committee takes a decision, a formal letter has to go saying that you are appointed as so-and-so. If that formal letter has to be issued by the chairman of the Global Council, I am not able to understand what objection anybody can have. Now, one question which often comes up, of course, they've gone into a lot of narrative, which I'm not going to say. You see, after that first announcement was made, for nearly 6 months, nothing happened. The only thing that happened was we received a barrage of letters which were vituperative in language, offensive, and with most disrespectful manner, letter communications came to us, which are all orchestrated. I reiterate it, though somebody takes exception to it. The letters are drafted by somebody. It is exactly the same, repeated everywhere, translated and sent to us. All of us talked about it, and we took a decision after praying to Bhagwan. Swami, these brickbats have come. Please help us to keep those brickbats aside. We don't want to take note of that. We'll continue our hand of friendship. Then we continued. After a long time, they decided, okay, we'll have a meeting. First, they said, no, we don't want to meet the office bearers. I said, okay, if you don't want to meet, we can't do anything. Then he said, finally, God, blessed them with that wisdom, and they had a meeting. So many of them, Dr. Reddy and everybody was present. We had a long discussion. It was decided that 3 persons will be given the task to finalize the terms of this Global Council. We sent them an entire draft again. We asked them, you give us your comments. And the 3 persons were Brother Ratnakar, Brother Nimish Pandya, and Dr. Reddy. These are the 3 people who are on that 3-member committee. That went into some discussion. They had 3-4 meetings. Finally, a final draft was obtained. And after that, they wanted some changes. And then they came up with a document. And finally, they said that we are not willing to change anything. We asked them, what is your objection? They have no answer for that. Only some word here, there, supervision, some word they kept on harping on the supervision. I don't know what is it that they have apprehension about. Are we going to remove somebody? Who is Central Trust to remove it in the new dispensation? We have no such power. It's not envisaged like that. So finally, they are the people who said, we don't want to continue this dialogue anymore. And they turn the narrative around and say, Central Trust walked out of the meeting. It's completely untrue. We are willing to meet. Brother Ratnakar will bear it out. Others will bear it out. So what I'm saying is, this narrative is not correct. The last one that I want to touch about is, what is it that we want to achieve by this? We only want to achieve unity. We want all the Sai devotees, all the Sai organizations, the apex trust, that is the Central Trust, which is doing the key part of it and looking after the Prashanti Nilayam ashram. You see, imagine if Prashanti Nilayam ashram has gone into a state of disrepair, has gone into limbo, nothing happens. What will happen to devotees? Today, by Swami's grace, Prashanti Nilayam is as vibrant as it was all the time, except that due to COVID, we are not in a position to have a lot of people coming in there, which is slowly changing now. But all of you should come. This is Swami's place. Swami's place is your place. Swami always said, this is your house. Why do you need invitation to come to your house? So this entire exercise of Global Council is only that, to put everybody on an even keel. We all want to meet all of you. All of you must be connected to Prashanti Nilayam. There's no need to connect to me or to Ratnakar or to anybody else. We are insignificant. I'll just conclude by telling you one thing. When Swami was there, none of us We are given, Swami in his benevolent mood gave us many titles: member, council of management, trustee, this all India president, office bearer, all these things he gave us. But the thing is that we were not expected to do anything. Swami was doing everything. Now you see, with Swami's physical absence there, we need to set an organizational framework for this. And surprisingly, the international organization joined. And then they said, we are not joining. And they are the people who have created a lot of confusion and bad blood. I pray to Bhagavan. I pray to all of you. You see, you all have to take one step forward. If we have to start this process of unification, if you don't do it, what is going to happen? I'll just conclude by, there are some questions which I'll answer later in the question answer session. I'm tempted to read, what is it that we should do when we are faced with a problem? Bhagavan has said this in a beautiful excerpt from Sathya Sai Speaks, volume 4. What he says is, you must all use your talents awarded you in a prayerful and humble mood. Until then, you have no right to seek help of the Lord for his intervention. So we must start praying properly. A devotee of Hanuman was once driving a cartload of grain to the market. On the way, the wheel got stuck. The cart could not be drawn forward by the bullocks. The cart also slanted. The devotee sat on the ground, started praying to Hanuman. And he's finished the stotras, 108 names, 1008 Sahasranama, Ashtotra, everything. The cart did not move. Then he started blaming Hanuman. So then Hanuman said, you foolish fellow, instead of applying your strength on the job, you have reviled me for not doing what is your task. Come on, put your shoulder to the wheel, engage in karma, contribute purusharth prayatna. Now, that is exactly what's to be done now. No point in blaming somebody else to say that person said this person said that. We are individual devotees of Swami. You don't have to do anything for me or for Central Trust for anybody. You have to do for Bhagavan. In fact, what does Bhagavan expect from us? He expects only two things. He expects bhakti and shraddha. These two things, we must have faith and we must have devotion. These are the only two things that are needed. In a spiritual organization, all the rest of the things matter little. Each of us is here only for this purpose. And the object of Global Council is exactly this and nothing more. I thank you for this patient listening, and I look forward to the interaction which is to take place. And with prayers to Bhagavan to guide us, bless us, to help us take the right decision, and to unite in love. That is most important. We must all be united. We should not have, if we have differences, we must keep them aside. That is the object of this spiritual organization. This is our prayer to Bhagavan. Om Jai Shri Sai.
Thank you, Brother Naganand. You have beautifully covered the prelude to formation of Global Council, which actually a lot of devotees here had confusion how it was formed, and was it done in a hurry? Was the proper process followed, or those kind of things? Probably you have given a beautiful introduction, and we'll see a lot of questions on that coming in the question answer sessions. Now I would request Brother Nimish Pandya, the All India President of Sai Seva Organization, to address. Just a small note that out of the complete Sai fraternity in the world, 95% comes from India, and he manages almost 30 states, which is close to, which is equivalent to managing 30 countries. So he also should be taking a lot of, load and driving the projects and doing Swami's work in real time. Brother Nimish Pandya, please.
Sairam. Sairam, Brother Mahesh, Sairam, Brother Murli, and all my brothers and sisters from New Zealand. A very warm greetings to all of you. Let me be brief so that we can have more questions coming in. Very, very briefly, I must say that in India, we never had any hesitation, because I and the entire populace of devotees in India believe that unity is a must at any cost. No individual egos, no individual personalities can ever come in the way of a decision to unite. And to my mind, the decision to unite is always a very spontaneous decision for any spiritual aspirant, because we cannot forget the fundamental ground that Bhagavan wanted all of us to be together at all times. In fact, the greatest joy that Bhagavan ever had when he saw people coming together. I remember from my earlier days, whenever there was the World Conference in Prashant Nilayam, those were the happiest moments for Bhagavan, when the entire world converged at Prashanthanilayam at his divine lotus feet. This we can never forget, because as it's been said, that we are fundamentally an organization that is not top-heavy. We were never a top-heavy organization. And wherever we made this organization a top-heavy organization, Swami would have never come there. Because for Swami, the devotees were paramount. For Swami, the office bearers and the structure which he created was a facilitating system for devotees to come together in united fashion. Therefore, in India, we've always been very, very associated with Prashanthanilayam, because we can't even imagine anything where we can't be associated with Prashanthanilayam, because that's the source. That's where we started. That's where the whole thing began. And therefore, our strength remains there. Point one. Point two. It's very important for all the Sai devotees to understand that Prashanthanilayam has to be the headquarters to ensure that for all times to come, the authenticity, the authentic nature of Swami's message is never diluted. And now, as Brother Naganand mentioned, that after the physical form of Bhagwan not being there, it is the duty of the people who have been nominated as office bearers to come together like a council in Prashanthanilayam and ensure that nowhere in any corner of the world, including India, there is any aberration as far as the message and the content of Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba is concerned. From these points of view, I think it's the most noblest thing to do, that the entire world comes together and sits together as one family in Prashanthanilayam. And this being the spirit, in India, we never had any hesitation. Secondly, I never had this apprehension like the world is trying to raise just now as of authority or any kind of takeover or anything of that sort. Because as Ratnakar mentioned earlier also, that we in India 5 years ago started the National Council because we realized that all institutions must come together. Every state trust, which is the 28 states in the country, all the state trusts, the state units of the organization, all, and the central trust. We go to Prashanthanilayam, the whole country goes to Prashanthanilayam every 15 days in a year. Every state by rotation goes there and has a connection there. And the relationship with Prashanthanilayam, the Central Trust, and the Indian organization has never had any issue, because we believe that this all belongs to Swami. The problem comes when I believe that this is mine and this is yours, which is never the foundation. The foundation is that everything belongs to Swami. Swami chose Prashanthanilayam for his earthly sojourn, and that divinity must be the source for all of us. Therefore, in India, we never had any issues about it. And as far as, just to put the last point before we go to the question, the aberrations and the questions that have come in, which I have been able to see over the years, is purely individualistic. It is purely trying to say that no, Bhagwan has said so many things. You can't pick and choose one thing to say, Bhagwan said this and do this. See the overall image. The overall mission of Bhagwan was unity. The overall mission of Bhagwan was cutting the ego, cutting the I factor, not getting attached to what you're doing. Getting attached to a structure also is equally bad. How can you get attached to a structure and say that a more better united structure can't come? That is not what Swami would ever say. It's an ever-growing, Swami's spiritual message was expansion, expansion, expansion. No structures can come in the way of expansion, that the entire unity comes together and all devotees can come together in Prashanthanilayam. Therefore, I think I want to put 2 points very clear. I think the entire boogie of taking over and controlling is completely misplaced and completely a false narrative, according to me, which I must say from personal experience, and all my brothers and sisters in the country of India, we never had this issue. These are all cooked up issues. There's nothing to safeguard your own position, to safeguard your own issues. If you want to cook up these narratives, I think all the body of devotees who think and act through their conscience can see through this very, very clearly. And I think that should be the guiding factor as far as we are concerned. I'm very clear, as many people even attribute many things to me as saying that I'm aligned or not aligned. India is a non-aligned country. We align only to Bhagwan. We align to Bhagwan's message. Therefore, the entire narrative that India is aligned to Central Trust is a false narrative. We are aligned to Bhagwan. Prashanthanilayam belongs to Bhagwan. And therefore, there is no question of any confusion about that to all my brothers and sisters. And I really wish that all of us come together and be together on this platform, because ultimately, at the end of the day, nobody, when you die, you don't want to see Nimish Pandya's face. You don't want to see Ratnakar's face. You don't want to see Dr. Reddy's face. You don't want to see any Murli's face. You want to see Bhagwan's face. And for that practice, Prashanthanilayam is the base. Hold on to it. Do not go. Do not let the mind create aberration. the decision to align with Prashant Neelam can never be a doubt, can never be a debate. It has to be a spontaneous decision. I welcome all of you to this spontaneous decision. Jai Sai Ram.
Saram, brother Nimish Pandya, thank you for your opening remarks. Now I think we'll move to the much awaited thing, that is question and answers. Most of the questions, in fact, have been answered by you. Before the start of the webinar, by evening 4 o'clock, we had about 65 questions. Now I see about 30 questions which are coming live. So about 95 questions. We'll have to spend a whole night answering all the questions. So we will not be able to do that. Hence, we will prioritize these questions and answer as many as possible. Some of them are duplicate and some of them are already answered in the opening remarks by the three panelists. But I would urge you to answer as briefly as possible the repeated questions. I don't mean to say that you answer briefly. What I mean to say is the questions which you have already answered, please answer again, but briefly, so that people get their questions answered. We'll move to the questions. The first question is, what right Central Trust has to change the structure which was established by Swami?
Naganand, sir.
I think, this whole thing proceeds on a complete misunderstanding of everything. We have circulated Swami's, in his own voice, very clearly elucidating that the international overseas, he called it overseas organization, all appointments, everything must be done from Prashant Nilayam by Central Trust. Now, if Swami created an organ, for example, in Swami's lifetime itself, he created many organizations, he merged many organizations, and he also consolidated many organizations. Now, you see, if this time for consolidation has come, now, if the international organization, it doesn't want to have anything to do with Prashant Nilayam. Is that what is meaning of Swami created organization? We are not destroying any of Swami created organizations. The original concept, as we now implemented in Global Council, was that the Sai International Organization is going to be part and parcel of this Global Council. So there's no change. All the members of the Prashanti Council were to be members here. All office bearers there were to be members here. So there is really no change. So this thing, they just, is a narrative for the sake of narrative. That's all. If you look at the basic structure, what is done, there is no recreation or dismantling of any structure.
In fact, Mr. Nimish bhai.
I think, Ratnakar, we should categorically, I would like to answer this question categorically. Nobody changed any structure. We only merged all the structures together. That's the difference. Let's understand this difference very clearly. It is, nobody changed anything. The entire three structures were coming together in a merger. And mergers are not changing. Mergers are always for the betterment of everything.
Correct. It is more of a synergy than, a division. See, we created all of you together. We come together to create more of a synergy than, SSI would have been more stronger and part of us to feel. In fact, today, yesterday, Brother Naganand and Nimish bhai, yesterday again, I saw a document saying that they're independent and things. There's so many things. There's a document again accusing us, released by them. Unity we are talking. We want unity. The brothers and sisters from and all fellow Sai devotees from New Zealand, now not only in Central Trust, but among the many devotees from many countries and very senior devotees, the way SSIO has reacted for all this and they went about accusing us, accusing Central Trust or whatever they did, even misinformation campaigns they have conducted with the various devotees. Believe me, today, Global Council is completely justified. Everybody feels that, it's a right thing which is propelled or which is sort of inspired by Bhagwan himself. Today, we stand vindicated by all what is, the amount of devotees which are, positively reacted to Global Council, why they want to be part of it, and the way they have reacted and gone about on the other side by SSIO. We never changed any structure. Please read this because bits and pieces are being circulated. In fact, when I see it is a deliberate misinformation being spread, because the first document only they keep telling. We have reiterated those documents. See, before any discussion, we give a draft. Then there are discussions, there are changes. So the draft may contain something which we would have just for starting the discussion, we would have given it. So they keep on projecting that. And we have given a finally, after all the discussion and everything, and we have given a very inclusive structure, which see, when we go for a discussion, we understand we missed out certain things, we need to include something, there are a better way of presentation. We have conducted all those changes and brought about all the changes and presented it. Kindly look into the latest, which is on the Global Council website, the structure. You will see everybody is part of it and nobody is disturbed. The supervision which they had talked and took an objection, I don't know, why don't you all ask, that clause was even there when they joined the Global Council. When Dr. Narendra Reddy announced and gave a joint statement, that whole clause was there. What happened? Why did you join when that was there? So there I think it's conveniently keep saying things to suit our own personal likes and dislikes is not correct. Supervision is a part of permanent charter which was begun by Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Please go and read in international website if they have kept it, if they have not sanitized and deleted it. Please go and ask them to circulate the permanent chapter, which was part of SSSO website. I do not know if still finds its place. Permanent charter is very clearly, under the structure, very clearly uses this word supervision. We did not invent this. It is Swami's and we have just adopted it into this because we are going by permanent chapter. That's it. We have not changed anything. Even the appointments also. Who is appointing? We never said we are going to appoint. It is an international organization. Dr. Reddy, Prashanti Council members, zonal chairs, all of them will form a part of a global executive committee and they will decide. Only as Brother Naganand already explained, only a certain level of appointments will be issued under the signature of the Global Council chairman. That's all. Because Narendra Reddy being in Executive Council cannot be appointing the people in Executive Council. It is a conflict of interest. He cannot be part of a Executive Committee and appoint his own under his signature. Can they tomorrow discuss about any change? They cannot. So that is why, for sake of good governance, we have introduced that. Otherwise, it is they who will decide anybody. So I think we have not changed any structure. That is a very wrong notion. As Brother Nimish said, it's all coming together and nobody changes anything here. Okay? Thank you.
We'll go to the next one. I keep hearing that Central Trust has made this change in view of controlling and getting access to the funds and assets such as buildings and schools that are held by overseas organizations. Is it true? You already addressed it, but
yeah, Naganand sir, legally you should.
I think it's a complete canard. Brother Ratnakar has already given the information about what is it that the international organization through the institution setup have contributed to Central Trust. It's a very small part of it. Now you see, Central Trust's hands are full. We have our institutions in India. Our role is to carry on charitable activities within India. Our role is not to go somewhere else and do any activity outside. And as all of you are aware, you see many of the properties and assets which are owned in different countries. I had the good fortune to visit Swami School in Kenya. Then I visited in UK, like many places. All of those places, it is a local trust and the organization which owns those properties. Is Global Council, by formation of Global Council, is there any agenda to take over all the properties of all the trusts which are independently functioning? In fact, today, even in India, we have state trusts in different states which own properties, which use them for schools, etc. Central Trust doesn't take over those trusts.
Absolutely.
Those trusts are manned by responsible people there. And if they need guidance, you give them. In some of the trusts, there's a provision that the Central Trust should appoint the trustees. We appoint the trustees. That's all. Till today, not a single property belonging to any trust in India has been transferred to Central Trust. Now, why will we do anything like that? The object of these trusts and properties are that they will do seva in their respective areas. So this is a completely, what should I say? It's a completely wrong narrative, false narrative. There is no such desire. There is no such intention. We have
Brother
no
Naganand,
desire. Yes.
now, if there is a property in which center is running, what do we do with that property? What is that? How can we enrich central trust by having that? Today, the properties, hospitals, colleges, university buildings, all are in central trust name. Is owned by central trust property. If you really go by property, it may be into millions, hundreds of millions of dollars. But what can we do? Can central trust sell a hospital building? Can a university building can be sold? What means? They're all there. So Kulwant Hall, that entire Prashanti Nilayam today is a prime location in the surrounding. If you see by the way the prices have gone up and government notified prices, they are going into huge amounts. But a temple is a temple, a mandir is a mandir, a school and a college and a hospital. What can you do with it? I don't know. When they say we want money, we want property, what will we do with the property? Property is of Swamis. None of us will take any property. Please be very assured.
How can you take an example? If there is a property in New Zealand, how can India take over a property in New Zealand? It is fallacious by all standards of common sense. Forget anything in reality. Common sense says how can India take over? We are not the Taliban. I mean, I don't understand this. I don't understand this nonsense which is going on.
Okay.
My apologies. You definitely will have very stinging questions. The reason being, this seminar is being held very late.
Mahesh, no problem. We are here to answer.
Mahesh, we are ready. Don't worry.
There is a lot of information which is fed in to the people, and the questions are coming. Please bear with me.
No.
It's a good opportunity to address.
Mahesh, feel free. It's like a family discussion. We have no problem, but equally we will be reacting maybe because
let the sting be on both the sides.
Okay.
No,
let's
okay. Please ask next question.
Let's move on. Okay. Are the finances of Central Trust audited and published? Is the Indian government happy with the way the Central Trust manages its finances?
The Central Trust is a public charitable trust. Okay, people are not aware. So let me explain. It's a public charitable trust, duly registered. We have a enactment in the state of Andhra Pradesh which governs this entire activity. We are registered with them. Every year, auditors are appointed. We have internal auditors. We have statutory auditors. They audit the accounts. Audit reports are certified. Till now, there has been not single qualification in the accounts. The accounts summary of it after Mahasamadhi, every year on Swami's birthday, 23rd November, we have been presenting accounts which are published, placing before Bhagavan and announcing it. I have been given the task to do that for many years. This is all clear. The second thing is, in addition to this, there is some scrutiny that is done at different levels, because we are also registered under the different statutes in India for receiving overseas donations, foreign contributions. Those accounts are also audited. We have filed it. Till now, there is no objection. In fact, the state of Andhra Pradesh wanted a thorough investigation and accounting to be done, checking to be done. They sent a team of auditors. They were, for many days, they were there. They were fully satisfied, and they went back and reported to Andhra government that everything is above board. After that, Andhra government is so happy with us that they have recently conferred a special honor on the Central Trust for being a model NGO. They are to honor it. There was a function was to be held because of some reason that event did not take place. We didn't apply for that. The Chief Minister's office called and said, sir, this honor is being given to your trust. Please come and receive it. So what I'm saying is accounts are audited. Everything is above board. There are no cash transactions that take place. And these are all open to scrutiny. There is, no hide and seek in it. It's all available in public domain also.
Yeah. Also, like foreign contribution, which Brother Naganand mentioned, all the foreign contributions come through the banking channels only. And every 3 months, every quarterly, we have to file our returns with the Government of India, Ministry of Home Affairs. We have to file the. So Government of India, even 6 months back, they had sent a team of them from different. They have what's called Controller and Auditor General of India, and the team of them from different sections. They do visit occasionally. As latest as 6 months back, a full team was there for 10 days. It is apart from the government of Andhra Pradesh. It is a central government of India who sends these teams. And say 10 days they were there. They went through every file. In fact, I can say this because one of them privately commented saying that this is there's nothing to audit here. It is so everything, whatever we ask, you are able to produce. Whatever paper we want, you are able to produce. Because our team, entire finance team, is thorough with the procedures. Absolutely one of the most transparently conducted and operated trust in the country. In fact, they said always an auditors make some negative comments. For a change, we will make some positive comments also in our report, and they did so that that Sathya Central Trust is very transparently they are making all the transactions. So it is audited.
I want to add, Ratnakar, that I want all my brothers and sisters in New Zealand to know that a trust in India is a board of trustees. The eminence of the people on the board of trustees currently manning the Sathya Central Trust is a dream team. Please understand, there is a narrative that everything goes against Ratnakar and Ratnakar gets blamed for everything. Let me put it very candidly. But people in New Zealand, my brothers and sisters, I would sincerely urge you to understand that the entire board of trustees has Mr. Chakravarti, whose character and personality impeccable as during the lifetime of Bhagwan Ji Sathya Baba. Mr. Naganand is a designated senior lawyer of the country of India and practicing at the highest court of the country, that is the Supreme Court of India, having a legacy and a tradition to live by of character, culture, authenticity, and integrity. You take Mr. Kelkar, he's been the economic advisor to the government of India in his heyday. Mr. Bhagwat, a very leading chartered accountant of his times. Dr. Mohan, who's been awarded the highest award by the government of India, is a Padma Shri. And to imagine in the presence of all these people there will be anything wrong is again a big question mark on the common sensibility of a question like this put, apart from the fact that the government of India holds the Central Trust in its highest esteem. And in India, the Sathya Sai Seva Organization and the Sri Sathya Central Trust are ideal institutions across the breadth of the country. I think this is something which I really want to share, because one must appreciate the stature of people. We must respect people who are there before we make allegations or doubt their integrity in any way.
Okay.
Thank you very much. This question is a bit long. It's obviously came from one of our senior devotees. It goes like this. If the main objective of the Global Council is to, within quotes, to unify, to strengthen, and to expand, how do you reconcile the fact that in Australia and New Zealand, and probably all over the world, the mandate given to allow the formation of a separate organization, apart from SSIO, has actually created a huge divide between Sai devotees that are irreconcilable? In order for you to completely disregard one of the main objectives of the Global Council, which is unity, via this process, there must be something substantial about the SSIO operations that you are unhappy with. Can you please clearly and transparently state what these grievances are? What will a change in structure provide that does not already exist in terms of activities and operations?
Yeah. Ms. Naganand, Nimish bhai.
Yeah, I think, let me just say, see, the international organization has been functioning in a manner in which they think it should be done. The object why we wanted this unification process is, you see, what the international organization does, institutionally, the Central Trust does not know. There is no system by which they discuss with us or inform us or take any guidance. Because as I said, when Bhagwan was physically here, everything was done by taking Bhagwan's direct approval and blessing for whatever they had to do. Now, after Mahasamadhi, that is not being available, then what should be the position? While one hand, they say we are Sai organization, we are connected to Prashanti Nilayam. And even in this process, it's not that we are unhappy about something. The question is not, to discipline students. I'm just giving you an off-the-cuff example. In a classroom, there are 10 students. Okay, some students are very naughty, some students are very studious. Now, to discipline all of them, you put some rule in so that everybody will follow that. No, so that is all it is. It is not that they are a recalcitrant member and therefore we have to take action against them. That is not the object at all. The object is let us all come together in love, peace, and harmony. We are doing the same thing. So sit together at one table. Now you see, when international organization comes, they have a meeting in Prashanti Nilayam. We don't know what meeting that is. We don't know what is the agenda. We don't know what exactly they're discussing. We don't know what priorities. And some decisions taken by them are I would say, I would not use a harsh expression. They're somewhat difficult to understand. If you want to have, you have Bhagwan's chair. If you feel like you have Swami's photo, these are things, and mixing of men and women inside city in the centers. See, I understand that we have to give due respect to local conditions, all that I understand. But there is a set of rules, which Swami has laid down. We can't violate those rules, So if the international organization is going in those lines, then what happens? Do we not have any responsibility to tell them? No, I think, we need to relook at it. This is how it ought to be. This is what Bhagwan has said. How do we do it? In the current scenario, there's no way to do it. So therefore, this global council is one place where there's a forum for everybody to sit down and talk and decide. It's not our dikkat. It's not that our give them an order and they have to do it. It is their decision. They all have to take a decision. All of you have to take a decision. That is the object of the global council. It's not to discipline international organization, how to express our unhappiness. That's not the idea at all.
Nimish bhai, anything?
I think I just want to repeat, I think the very foundation of this question, that what are we unhappy? We were never unhappy with anybody. We are always a very happy set of people, you see. And the whole purpose is to come together for more happiness. There was never any other question. You see, I think that needs to be highlighted and underlined, that the whole premise that we are unhappy with, we were never unhappy with anybody. We were always very happy. It's just a question of being more happy coming together. It's a widening the horizon of happiness rather than saying that somebody's unhappy. I mean, I always say, if you're a Sai devotee and if you're unhappy, you're not a Sai devotee. You're bound to be happy when you're with Swami. Swami is there at the back of all of us. Happiness is our fundamental right, and increasing happiness is our duty. That's the whole purpose.
Yeah. Can I just come in? Yeah. See, also, somebody asked about this, what happened. Just very quickly, I'll just give you certain data. 2010, the data published by SSIO has 2,035 centers in SSIO. 2020, they published it is 1,700 centers. Nearly 350 centers have gone. I don't see anywhere that has been discussed and minuted anywhere. Why 350? What is that? How do we not? How are we going? Down in number of centers? I don't see, but I see minutes where we discussed and removed Swami's chair because people don't relate to Swami's chair. So I seen that minutes in SSIO, but I don't see the minutes of why 2050 has become 1,700. Their own report, 2010 says they have 36,000 SSC students, whereas in 2020 it says 21,000. So 15,000 students have come down. I don't see any minutes saying that what is the cause, what should be done, is there any corrective mode, or should we do something, are we doing something right or wrong? No, I did not, at least I did not come across minutes, but I've seen a minutes where Vibhuti is something which people are not able to relate to, or Swami's picture can be, perhaps a picture of Bhagwan can be, means Swami's picture is an option, but option. And there are minutes in America, and there is a program, pilot program of removing chair and Swami's picture in some of the centers, and it is, I did not, or any one of us just making up this, and they're all in SSIO websites. You can go, you need to little have patience and go into that. It is not told to many people, many senior people have called and cried to us saying this is blasphemous. So it is not a complaint, we have received complaints, but it's a heartache of people who are who love Swami and what's happening. So the numbers have dwindled, the amount of children have come down, the attendance at the centers have come down. Where there were 300 were attending, now it is 40, 50 are attending. If there are attending, the number of countries by their own admission have come down. Today they say 108 countries. Brothers, let me be very frank to you, since it has come, I think this webinar will be seen across the world. They say 108 countries are solidly with such an international organization. I don't know, but let me be saying it. I wouldn't, for whatever reason, I wouldn't be saying this in open like this. But now, once I think they need to know, they need to see what is fact. 70 countries together, the entire membership is less than 8,000. 70 countries. Together, it is a published data. The permanent charter says, if you have 10 centers and above, you can have a national council. If such countries may be less than 40, or I think 27, if I'm correct, can qualify for having a national council. There are countries where national council, they say national council, I looked up, they said national council president has written that they don't want to join a global council. The membership is 8. 8. So whom are we bluffing? Are we cheating Swami? I do not know. Please let me not say more things on this. I think all of us need to responsibly act on that. We don't want to dictate anybody. We don't want to, but we need to act responsibly. All of us are stakeholders in Sathya Sai. Wherever Sri Sathya Sai is there, all of us are stakeholders. We feel bad if something is not right. So we need to correct this situation, and it will be done. Yes, Mahesh.
Okay. Before I ask this question, my sincere apologies to you, but I have to ask this question because we have seen a lot of videos going around. I don't want to mention the source, but the question says, the question goes like this. Information is being circulated by SSIO challenging the credibility and character of the managing trustee, Sri Ratnakar. Are these allegations true? And what role does the managing trustee have in the Global Council? Is he the chairperson? Before you answer the question, let me clarify that Mr. Ratnakar is not the chairperson of the Global Council. Mr. K. Chakravarti, who is a retired IAS officer who has been serving Swami for many decades, involved in all the activities of Central Trust, is the chairperson of Global Council.
I think I'll take that question. I think the whole narrative is completely false. You see, after Mahasamadhi, the newspapers and the media, they went berserk. They wrote all sorts of nonsense. In fact, there was one news report in the front page of a leading national daily, which said that there was a bus that was traveling, and in the border, the bus was intercepted. Next to the driver, a bag had 10 lakh rupees cash that was being smuggled out of Puttaparthi during that time. That was the front page news. I was so shocked by it, and I called the editor and I told them, I said, see, this whole thing is false. You people have published something which is absolutely untrue. So please retract it. And you know, they never retracted it. No, that means it is true, is it? If this is true, something would have been there. Now, most of the reports that emanated there, not most, all the reports. And in one, they showed a lorry with sugar cane in it. You could see sugarcane being carried in that lorry. And they said gold was being taken in that lorry. And gold was taken in the lorry. Now, this is the kind of nonsensical things that are published by the press. Now, if somebody is going to believe that, you see, 10 years have gone by. And let me tell you, see, Brother Ratnakar was not appointed managing trustee. We had a member secretary, Mr. Giri. And before that, in Swami's time, we had a secretary of the Central Trust. After that, Mr. Prasad Rao became the member secretary. Now he was running it. Due to ill health, he is not able to continue. So he stepped down. So the trustees, we are a board of trustees. Now somebody has to be given the day-to-day responsibility of seeing what is happening there, because trust meetings take place once in a month, once in 2 months. And who has to look after the day-to-day things when we don't have a chief executive officer? That is the reason why the trustees decided to request Brother Ratnakar to become the managing trustee. We have not delegated any power to him, financial powers. He cannot pass one check for 1 lakh rupees, which is not passed by the board of trustees today. He has signing power, but signing power is if the board approves it, then he and one more finance man or someone, one of us will sign the check along with him. He has no individual signing powers. He has no other, he has to be titularly there to look after day-to-day affairs. So if you make allegations like this and look up 10 years ago, what was the allegation was made, which all found to be false. Every single allegation which was made was found to be false. And more than anything else, you see, 10 years is 1 decade since Swami's Mahasamadhi. How have the trustees acquitted themselves? Is there anything that has happened in these 10 years which will give room for any such doubt? So this entire narrative against Mr. Ratnakar personally is, I think, very unfortunate. It is very, very unfortunate. Whoever is sending it, they are really destroying their own credibility. That's what I can say. And so the trust, and one more thing I would say, an end. Till now, not a single decision has been taken or implemented in Central Trust which is not unanimous. For many years, we had 9 trustees. Of course, then due to various reasons, Justice Mishra had to step down because of ill health like that. All 9 trustees take every single decision. Even 1 rupee to be spent, it has to pass through the board. Our finance department will not allow any check to be issued unless the board has approved it. That's how we function. And every decision is unanimous. There is not a single decision by majority. So in a case like that, what is the point in just pointing fingers at Mr. Ratnakar? Then they must point fingers at all of us. All of us have also done it. All of us are also benefiting from it. But I might tell you without...
I think, Naganand, that's a very valid point, Naganand. It's a very valid point. You cannot, first of all, the fundamental duty of every Sai devotee not to speak behind anybody's back, being the 9 points of code of conduct. Not one of them have the guts to come and sit in front of Ratnakar and talk to him on his face and allege that this is the position and seek information. I mean, what is this whole thing which is fundamentally against the 9 points of code of conduct? If you don't have the guts to face the problem, you're not supposed to speak behind somebody's back. This gossip mongering behind somebody's back, you don't deserve to be a Sai devotee. That means you're not even a Sai devotee. What right do you have to even question anybody is a fundamental question that I have to ask these people who give this allegation without any evidence. And Brother Naganand is right. I mean, you have the audacity to insult 9 other trustees who are men of eminence just because you have a prejudice against one man. I think this is atrocious. That's absolutely atrocious.
I completely agree with you. I think the more time you spend on this question, you are giving more credibility to those people. So a firm no would have been the best answer. That's what I would say. I personally, locally, I can vouch to them because many of people may not know that, I studied with Ratnakar. We were batchmates for 3 years and we shared a room for 1 year. So I know his character. And when people came and asked me showing the video, I just told them, just delete it. Don't even waste your time on, looking at that. So let's not waste time on that allegations. It's no. This is really important because this again is being rumored around our centers saying that they will lose their autonomy, they will lose their identity. This question reflects that. Every nation, country has their own identity. Every country, nation has their own traditions and social conventions. We need to adapt, accept, and modernize in order to have a sustainable organization for the youth and children. Will the Global Council allow each nation, each center to have its own identity culture, or will it interfere and change things?
The whole idea of Global Council is that. The whole idea is cross-pollination of what is happening. A good practice that is happening in India, a better practice that is happening in Europe, an experience that you gained in Australia, something which has happened in New Zealand. All decisions have to be taken by you. You see, the Global Council is not going to tell the New Zealand president that this is how you should do your things. We will have a broad policy decision that will be made by all of you only. And that policy is what is going to be implemented. So I don't see any problem whatsoever for independent functioning of these country organizations for the, for example, the Sai Center. If in one Sai Center, they want to make a small change in the procedure that they're following, if it is within the permissible limits, the national president is not going to tell them, no, don't open the door on the left side, open on the right side. Those things are not going to be told to them. They are the people who run their center and they know how to run the center. That's exactly how it is going to be. This whole thing is, there's no such desire.
Brother Naganand, see, these centers, they have been told by some of the SSSO people that we decide the center presidents who is going to be appointed. We will remove them at will. No, I think it's all made out to be, just a sort of fear mongering and sort of falsification of the information. Global Council is not a body which will be like a principal of a school standing with stick there, and who's part of Global Council. It's a SSI. No, all the leaders in the Sai organizations are the people. They will be only implementing, supervising at center level. None of us will even in India. I do not know many Samiti center presidents, even very clean in my own district, because it is independent. They're all devotees and volunteers who will come and participate in those activities. We have no role there. No center will be interfered with. In fact, we want to clearly state this, that we want to give more autonomy to the zones and zonal chairs. They are not. They should not be simply for everything they have to call California to seek permissions for seating in Kulwant Hall. Even a zone chairs, I have seen this happening. Even a zone chair will be standing in front of me, but he can't. He will have to check with somebody else somewhere, sitting in somewhere. We will want to strengthen, and we will make zonal chairs will be the contact points for the organization. And you will be working under your zones, and you can decide depending on your own. In fact, we are also contemplating your time zones are different, your cultures are different, each zone, each traditions are different. The way, so we may not have the certain common do's and don'ts will be present across the Global Council. But certain things which are relevant to each one, they will not be common. Like in a Middle East, you cannot do certain kind of altars, certain kind of prayers. I think we should exclude them. We should not bring that and rub it on Australia or South Africa. So similarly, your time zones are different. Your everything is different. So each zonal head will be from your own zone, and you will take care of it, and all of you will together. So for that, we will form and formalize from Global Council each regulations for even zone-wise. There will be a common guidelines, and there will be zonal guidelines also, country-specific. And because we know some of the countries like Malaysia, they have to have their own structures. Maybe Indonesia, maybe in some other many countries, maybe in your own countries, you will have your own structures and certain do's and don'ts. So I think we respect all that. It is, but while all this is happening, there are some common do's and don'ts which you can't definitely. We need to respect certain traditions of what Swami has laid down. That cannot be muddled with, because somebody is not able to relate to Swami's chair. That is just simple thing that we feel that Swami is present. Swami comes and sits at the way when Swami was physically with us. Also, that is how in all mandirs. Those physically, Swami is not in Bangalore, or Swami is not in Bombay, or Swami's mandirs are there in various cities. But what Swami did, keep a chair, altar, and conduct bhajans. That is Swami's own instructions, and we cannot do away with it wherever we are, because people are not able to relate, and ultra-modern people, I don't think these are all things. I think you need to change the culture to Sai culture, then only Swami is very clearly, in fact, maybe I can send that discourse also out in very soon, where Swami says you need to adopt to Sai culture, then only you will be called a devotee, otherwise you are not a devotee. When Swami says adopt to culture of, means it's not adopt to culture of you remove means your eating habits, your whatever, not that. When he was talking about your country, you are coming, you have a Sai center. If you cannot have a Sai literature spoken about, or then how do you say it is you are following Swami? If you are, basically there are certain guidelines which Swami has given, we should follow. That is what we are saying. So apart from that, you will be completely autonomous and independent for functioning within the guidelines. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I think we have reached our allocated time, but I'll request the panelists to give me time for asking 3 more questions, which I feel are relevant before we conclude. So the next question is, can you clarify the difference between SSSGC and SSSCT, that is Global Council and Central Trust? Additionally, we are told by SSIO, we are told SSIO was established by God and SSGC is made by men. This causes more confusion and we don't know how to respond.
The SSSCT is the Central Trust, which is a public charitable trust established by Bhagwan. He was the sole trustee. That the object of that is to do charitable work in India, looks after all the hospital and other activities. The SSSIO was established as a Sathya Sai overseas organizations by a charter given by Bhagwan himself. Now the SSSGC, the Global Council, the object is to bring SSSIO and the Indian organization and the Central Trust, which are the 3 main arms, to one table. In fact, there is no intention to remove or change anything. But now that they joined and now they say they are not joining, so we need to now revisit as to how. See, the thing is that if in a country, a group of devotees feel that they don't want to be part of SSIO, supposing there is a group, and they can join the Global Organized Trust, Global Council. Once that happens, the Global Council is going to be the arm which is going to unify everybody and run. See, those who don't want to join us, they don't become our enemies. We don't treat them as, our foes. We don't, shun them. They are also Swami devotees. We have no problem with that. They can, practice whatever they want to practice. We have no issues with them. So this is the whole objective, is to put everybody together. Even if they want to join later, we can consider that also. There is no problem.
Global Council and Central Trust, they are not this one and the same. Global Council is where Sathya Sai organizations all over the world are part of it. And there are 3 representatives of Sri Sathya Sai Central Trust as a part of Global Council. So they are 2 different bodies. They should not, that is one more false narrative that Global Council is nothing but Sathya Sai Central Trust. No, they are 2 different bodies. Global Council is different. Sathya Sai Central Trust is completely different. So Sathya Sai Central Trust is a public charitable trust, which Mr. Naganand has been telling. It's a registered body, recognized body as a public charitable trust. They both are not the same. Only thing is that there will be some representation of Sathya Sai Central Trust on the Global Council. That is a very minor, minimal. If there are 100 members in Global Council, there are only 3 members of Sathya Sai Central Trust on the board. That's it. So they are completely different. They are not one and same as been projected or has been told by SSIO people. It is not so.
Okay. Thank you, Ratnakar. We move to the next fact-checking question again. Was Dr. Reddy appointed to lead SSIO by Swami? It is claimed that Swami appointed him. Also, doesn't Prashanti Council already consist of people from Prashanti Nilayam? So there's a lot of confusion between the youth Prashanti Council that is being used by SSIO. So I would like you to officially clarify that.
See, one important thing, all of us, even those who have been in SSIO, should ask themselves a question whenever they say this kind of a narrative. It is simple. Who was chairman of Prashanti Council or a World Foundation in 2011 during Mahasamadhi? Can someone answer from your panel? Anybody who knows this, Mahesh?
It's Goldstein. Goldstein, I know that.
So 2011, Dr. Goldstein was the chairman of Prashanti Council and also a chairman of World Foundation. So if he was both the things, he was holding the positions, how could Narendra Reddy be appointed by Swami after Mahasamadhi as a chairman of Prashanti Council or a World Foundation? I think it's it defies any common sense. Okay. All of us are appointed by Bhagwan only. That way, you, me, everybody, even Murali, whoever is there in the So we think that it's not any, we don't think that, any individual, it is a Swami given opportunity. That way everybody is appointed in Sai Mission by Swami only, not XYZ. But if that is a fact, then you have to answer this question. Who was chairman of Prashanti Council in 2011? Dr. Michael Goldstein. See, I have even, it is Prashanti Council. Where does that name come from? From Prashanti Nilayam, right? How can they say Prashanti Nilayam, we have nothing to do with Prashanti Nilayam, or we are independent? Very Prashanti Council name derived from Prashanti Nilayam. From where did this international organization started or emanated or took birth? Prashanti Nilayam. Where is the question of anywhere else? So I don't know why these kind of false narratives and hallucinations and illusions people are spreading and living in. It's not so. So, you say, for example, even if Swami has appointed Dr. Reddy, means what are we disputing here? Or what is that they're claiming from that side? You see, like all of us are appointed by Swami only, and at least we have evidence also being appointed. They don't have that evidence. We have evidence, we have videos, Swami appointing us. So, but this is a fact. Let us not go into any other thing. It's a fact that Dr. Michael Goldstein was chairman of Prashanti Council in 2011 during Mahasamadhi. So, any claim of him being appointed as a Prashanti Council by Dr. Narendra Reddy, it is not correct. And secondly, we have a letter from Prashanti Council asking us to, asking Central Trust, we need your urgent intervention to save the Sathya Sai International Organization from uncertain future. These exact words what Prashanti Council had written to Sathya Sai Central Trust for intervening into their certain happenings in international organization. So I think, much has gone by. We don't want to again open the old wounds, but it's a fact. We have too many letters to be comfortable for them that, even some of them who are now diehard followers of SSSO leadership, I have even letters saying that Dr. Narendra Reddy should not be made SSSO chairman, Prashanti Council chairman in 2011. There are many, we have received many such mails also. But see, whatever, once all of us together taken a decision in the best interest of the thinking that, see, none of us want to make a bad decision. All of us want to make a good decision. And we thought that is a good decision. Then we supported it, and they had their own Prashanti Council, which may be appointed. And in fact, some of the letters have even drafted by then Indulal Shah saying, sent out in those days, circulated even international organization about appointments. So anyway, let us all believe that Swami is appointed so that we don't make mistakes and we are answerable to Swami. At least let us all believe that. Swami uses each individual or institution as an instrument to appoint you. That is one way of thinking and one way of being responsible to Swami. But saying that and we are above board is not correct.
So factually, Dr. Reddy was not appointed by Swami, and he was appointed by Central Trust on the request of Prashanti Council.
Yes, we suggested, and maybe officially they might have formalized it by
their own procedure.
Procedure. That's it. But entire minutes, entire meetings, and entire procedure, all those deliberations and discussions happened at Central Trust office. In fact, we have many mails exchanges. Even Mr. Naganand is very active part there because Michael Goldstein is to find a very able shoulder on Naganand. He used to pour out all his grouses with Naganand. So he found it very comfortable to deal with Mr. Naganand. So many times whenever I open my mailbags, I see Mr. Naganand trying to balance all sides in these mails. Naganand sir.
See, Swami is the organization. We are, it is a great learning experience for us. with Swami how to deal with people, how to, walk on the thin edge, on the sword's edge, without hurting yourself or hurting others. These are things which Swami taught us, so beautifully he taught us how to speak, how not to speak, how not to offend. And therefore, and also at the same time, you must be on the right side of the law. No, Swami's instructions were very clear. Never, never, never take a chance with the law. It should always be right. If there is some 10% chance that you might be wrong, don't do it. That was the instruction. So 100% we had to be sure. So I think these are all Swami's blessings for us. But that's historical, See, I'm looking at it like this. Let's not, even if you go into this question that who appointed him, all that is one thing. Who is removing him today? Is Central Trust removing him today? Nobody, there is no such proposal to remove him. In fact, I remember at the meeting that I mentioned to you that we had with all the office bearers and all our trustees, all of us attended that online meeting. Brother Nimish Pandya made one submission to Reddy at the meeting, Dr. Reddy at that meeting. He said, see, if at all anybody is going to be affected by this formation of Global Council, it is only you and me, that is international chair and All India president. And he says, I am All India president. I have no problem whatsoever. Somebody has to appoint me. If this body is going to appoint me or my successor, I have no problem. It's only you. But Mr. Dr. Reddy just gave that, sly smile and did not say anything, did not react. So what I'm saying is, what are we all here for? What is this position? This position is an avenue to be of some seva, some service in Swami's, field. I would be happy to be the last person to sit in Kulwanthal also. I have no problem. You see, God, you have to have that humility to bow down before God and say, God, what you have given me, that is more than enough for me. And if a time comes when I should not be discharging these duties, so be it. That is God's will, you see. So I don't see any reason. I mean, I'm not saying that Dr. Reddy should be thrown out or replaced or anything. That's not, the whole idea is this. I don't know why they're bringing up this issue,
Mr. Nimish. Nimish bhai.
Yeah, I understand. I agree. Yeah, there was never any issue like that. And I remember that conversation. I think the genesis of this entire issue about the Global Council was only Dr. Reddy and I, and nobody else. I don't think anybody else is affected at all at any point of time anywhere. On the contrary, everybody gets a common platform, that's all.
Okay, can I say something?
Yeah.
Can I, Nimish bhai, I'm just making some small comment here. Naganand sir, with your permission. See, none of us want to remove anybody. None of us want to, in fact, that is I personally conveyed to Dr. Reddy that when he was still talking in December first week, I personally conveyed to him that this is not aimed at you at all. And all of us respect and, we have a lot of respect towards you. And it is not at all aimed at removing or I don't know why they think like that, but let me be very clear. He should not think that he is above everybody and he decides. Sathya Sai, see, when managing trustee I am appointed, it is a board which is appointed. I can't appoint myself, and there is a term for managing trustee also. They extend, otherwise they don't extend. So that doesn't mean I should sit tight and say this is an institution. I put all of us have put our lives, especially at my age when I was made trustee, I was just 40. We have put our lives into it, and still we need to follow certain institutional procedures. What's wrong in that? And I think I also don't hesitate to say Dr. Reddy has been there. I have no word to comment, but he has been there a glorious 10 years. If he thinks of giving to some youngster, why not? What is wrong in that? So if he needs to step down and he thinks he can give to some younger people, which is, in fact, we have been also discussing myself, Mr. Naganand and Nimish bhai, we should have some age limit also. Should all for Central Trust, for all the functions, somewhere where, we can't be endlessly for lifetime, people will be hankering to positions and posts and sticking to the chairs. So it's a very nice thing to train people. We should create a next generation, youngsters, train them, tell them what Swami wanted, how Swami's organization should run. And at an appropriate time, you stop giving. That is, in fact, Nimish Bhai will agree with me when I wrote to Dr. Reddy this letter. Nimish Bhai mentioned all about this, Nimish Bhai. And in fact, next day morning, Mr. Nimish said, all your love and respect you have shown, so much of it and so much of affectionately you have written to Dr. Narendra. Remember that I wrote about how Swami himself, inducted all of us for a continuity. Swami was a sole trustee. He gave up his sole trusteeship and gave up all the power and shifted his power to central trust, saying that it's the body of that. Bhagavan himself did it. Who are you and me? It is not owned by us. It is Swami's organization. We did not create the Sathya Central Trust. We did not create the Sathya organization. We did not create Sathya International. It is Swami. We are only, that's what, we are only a transit passengers. Let us not forget that. So, no harm if he continues or he wants to, if he thinks somebody can do, an youngster can do, some younger person can handle it, why not?
And
I think that's...
we must see that this is to be perceived from a futuristic point of view.
Yes, exactly.
The larger line that we are drawing for the future to be secure in its essences and the integrity of Swami's mission is concerned, it has to be perceived purely from that point of view and not from any point of view.
Yes. Okay,
we'll conclude this session with the last question because I don't want to take you, it's already exceeded. We have gone to 2 hours now. Also, doesn't the Prashanti Council already consist of people from Prashanti Nilayam? With the name Prashanti, it's a lot of confusion in New Zealand. They think that Prashanti Council is based out of Prashanti Nilayam and the members of Prashanti Council are from Prashanti Nilayam. And who makes up Prashanti Council? And in the current situation, who are they responsible to? Whom does the chairperson of SSIO report to now, or is it completely independent and he takes his own decisions?
Let me be, sir, can I, Mr. Naganand and Nimish Bhai, I just briefly tell them, maybe you can. See, what some of the documents I've seen, you see the structure, the diagram of, structure diagram of SSIO. Please open, somebody can open the SSIO structure diagram. It says SSIO, then there are, arrows, and then it goes to Sathya Sai World Foundation, Sathya Sai Prashanti Council, whatever, Prashanti Council. If you see that, you know that organizational chart, if you see what published, even now somebody can click and open it and see. SSIO, then, somewhere below, little below, there will be Prashanti Council and World Foundation. I still don't make out that kind of a chart. Till now, I'm struggling to make out something out of it. What does that SSIO means and what are these two arms who are reporting? I did little research on that. And they said Prashanti Council is a certain set of people and there are certain set of people in World Foundation. And there are common people also from both sides. And one document I came across saying that the appointment of Prashanti Council members is by Dr. Narendra Reddy, SSIO chairman. Then I found one more at the same place. I found the appointment of people in World Foundation is by SSO chairman. Means just Narendra Reddy is sole and whole, it is sole proprietary. I don't know what this kind of, we made it and we allowed it to made it to kind of thing. He appoints members of directors of World Foundation. He appoints, this is a document which I saw. It is somewhere somewhere I found it very strange. And who is, he's not responsible for anybody. I do not know. This is what I found it. And the chart was very clearly says SSIO. SSIO consists of whom? You should ask this question. SSIO is only Narendra Reddy and himself. He appoints the World Foundation, he appoints Prashanti Council, and balance all of them are down. He never says Prashanti Council or World Foundation is the apex bodies and then under them, like today managing trustee, I can't say managing trustee and then central trust down there. It is a central trust which is apex body, under that managing trustee will be working. Anywhere in the world, even in the highest offices, the Prime Minister of India works under the Parliament of India. He doesn't work above the Parliament of India. Even in your country, your Prime Minister doesn't work above the Senate, below the Senate or below your Parliament. So they are responsible to somebody. But this is very odd kind of a situation. I found that SSIO means who? Because there are under SSIO, there are Prashanti Council and then World Foundation. Then underneath all these zonal chairs and all this. Then SSIO is Reddy and himself. What kind of anomaly we are perpetrating? And I found in writing, he appoints the people in Prashanti Council and appoints. It doesn't co-opt also. It's very brazen that somebody mentioned that kind of a thing in a document. That they appoint even directors of. I don't feel like talking much about it. It's completely they have sabotaged the whole thing, and I think this correction is very much required, and I think that is being done. This is Swami's way of doing things, and I'm not trying to take the name of Swami, but the very fact that these ideas have come to us and we needed to correction, we found Swami's discourses and everything, and the way people have reacted, I think it's time, and we will stand. Whoever is going aside, they will stand corrected by Bhagwan himself. Sir, can you all add?
I think Ratnakar has correctly summarized the situation. The appointments process, that is why in the Global Council, there is a very formal procedure that is laid down for an appointments committee to be done. And that appointments committee will give a report. There'll be a search committee that will go to the executive committee. Then the executive committee, if it approves it, then it will go for effectual implementation. So now you see this, the contention which they are raising is Swami set up Prashanti Council. Therefore, nobody should touch it. Now, if you see the original proposal, the proposal contained that all members of the Prashanti Council currently in office will be members of the Global Council also. So what is the problem? And has anybody told or put in public domain as to which member of the Prashanti Council was appointed by whom and when? Because before Mahasamadhi, all decisions were taken by Bhagwan and it was implemented through the Secretary of the Central Trust and conveyed to them. Now, after that, in the last 10 years, what has happened? He appoints somebody and says that that body is superior, and the person whom he appoints holds office for at the pleasure of the appointer. So I think, the whole thing is needs correction, that's it is. But the thing is, we are again, I'm trying to reiterate this more than once. It is not the Central Trust is going to take this decision. It is that it is going to be done by this Global Council. That is how it is going to be done. And therefore, it is not Central Trust appointing anybody they want. Yeah.
So you can see on the screen that these are the people who consist of Prashanti Council and the World Foundation.
Yeah. Kindly put the World Foundation also. Gary Wells, Sudhara, Narendra Reddy, Mariana Mayer is common, Narendra Reddy is common, Anupam Ganguly, Leonardo Gutter is common.
He is the one who's being the most vituperative in the communications.
All of them.
Yeah.
In fact, brothers, I must tell you, they have called us names and absolutely uncivil kind of letters they have written. Anyhow, that's it's their own karma, bad karma. We can't do anything. But you see, somebody who flashed it, can you flash that chart, organization chart, please? SSIO chart is there. Can someone flash it on the screen, please?
Technical team, please. The SSIO chart, organization chart.
Organization chart. Yes, sir. Can someone help us to do that? Organization. If you go to organization,
Go to the top. Go to the top.
Yeah, go to organization.
Top. Organization. Go to organization.
Yeah, this is the chart.
See this. 1 minute. SSIO, then World Foundation down, and Prashanti Council. Now SSIO, who all consists of SSIO? And World Foundation directors are appointed by Reddy, and Prashanti Council members are appointed by Reddy. That is what I've read somewhere. And SSIO is only Dr. Reddy. Well, means It should have been, SSIO should have been the entire thing. Prashanti Council or whichever called apex body should have been there, and SSIO chairman should have been under the Prashanti Council or World Foundation. He's a supreme body. How? I think, see this. How can these things be? Anyhow, we have no issue on this. Let them, whoever wants, let it be there, and they will call. We are the people controlling. We are, megalomaniacs. Ratnakar is that. But you see what's happening. I think this is a projection technique in psychology. Whatever they have, they will project onto others and tell. Anyway, Mahesh, I think.
I think we'll end the question and answer sessions here. But the most important thing is that you have answered a question very indirectly, which is there in many people's minds in New Zealand, that why SSIO joined Global Council and after some time withdrew suddenly. So this could be the answer. Probably each one of us should introspect and understand by ourselves why they withdrew. It could be because nobody can answer other than them. They have not answered, but this could be the answer.
And also, Mahesh, just let me make one small comment with our permission of our brothers. See, whenever they talk about anybody, either Central Trust or Ratnakar, see, most of them have not met. See, people who talk about me, never seen me, never met me, never any interaction. About Central Trust, other trustees also. Please, it's don't make any hearsay things. Most of what I found is the people who are carrying the stories are doubtful characters themselves. So don't be carried by that and disturb devotees. And this is very wrong. And let me tell you, it hurts each one's own soul if you revel in falsehood. So kindly, and it takes away the divine aspect of you from any individual. We should not tell unwanted lies. We should not deride any individual, because every individual, please, for God's sake, don't spread rumors and don't spread lies and don't spread. Let us pray to Swami. Just go to your altar and just pray to him. He will guide what is correct, what is not correct. Don't ask individuals. Don't go by what Ratnakar said, what Reddy said, what anybody said. Please go to altar, pray to, just sit before Swami and pray. Then he will guide all of us. Okay? Yes, Mahesh.
Okay. So I think if nothing else to add, probably I would request each one of you to do a quick roundup for probably a couple of minutes each. You would have understood what is the spirit of the various doubts that the devotees here have got. Basically, they have been fed that the Global Council will take complete control of day-to-day operations of each center or the region or the National Council. They will take over the funds. They will take over the various trusts and properties that are being owned. All will be taken over. So you have very clearly answered those questions. But that is the main concern, and what makes the people to come united together if there is any chance. So basis on that, if you could please round up each one of you probably 2 minutes each, that will be great.
Sir, I think I have whatever I have. Just pray to Swami. Swami will guide, and brothers and sisters, let us all. This is a wonderful mission. Let us all journey together hand in hand, and there is nobody high or low, or all of us are together. We all pray to same Lord. We all fall at the same feet. We are nobody special. Nobody is, functional statuses are different. Functionally, somebody has a different responsibility. But these things are, human dignity is equal to all. Let us respect each other. Let us be, don't go by hearsay things. And please stay connected to Swami and Prashanti Nilayam. Whoever, wherever we are, we need to stay. The Global Council is. Many people ask me what is one. Can you? They have been telling some of my friends. Tell me one nutshell. What is Global Council? What is the purpose? I always tell them, Global Council is one instrument through which every Sai devotee, every institution on this planet should be always remember Prashanti Nilayam and the Swami's holy abode. That is what it will resonate in the future. Global Council, everybody together. There is a one single organization or under one umbrella, all Sai devotees function, and they're all connected, not to different people or not to individuals or not different places. They're all connected to Swami and Swami's mission at Prashanti Nilayam. Prashanti Nilayam is for us, it is the holiest than holier places on the planet. Okay. So just pray to Swami. May Swami bless all the devotees and brothers and sisters from New Zealand. Sai Ram. Nimish bhai.
Naganand, go ahead.
Yeah. I think, the message that we need to bear in mind is, see, of all the people that are there in the world who have not had the great good fortune of coming in Swami's Sannidhi, coming under his gaze, coming under his umbrella, and being the beneficiaries of his blessing, we who have joined today from various parts of the world are really a blessed lot. Now, why should we allow our minds to get distracted by this, whether it's Sai, International Organization, Global Council, this, that? Our aim should be only Bhagwan. And we have joined it voluntarily. We want to be devotees, and we want to fulfill our lives by being devotees. No? So in a situation like this, if an entity like this is being conceived of, which is going to unify everybody, I don't see any reason why anyone should have any apprehension, because we have on more than one occasion made it very clear the Central Trust has no idea of taking anybody's rights, any powers, any property, any money, nothing like that. It is an avenue. See, I have not had the good fortune of interacting with people. Of course, during my travels, I've gone to a few places where I met Sai devotees, and I have found recollections of visiting Sai centers, participating in their activities, all of that. But other than that, we have not had, though I've been connected with the Swami's institutions for more than 20 years, 22 years or so now. But this will be an opportunity where all of us are going to become, it's like homecoming for you. It's like more direct connection. And we don't want to have any procedural formalities and protocols. You will be directly connected. It's like, at the height of the Cold War, after the Cuban crisis, for the first time, they set up a line of communication between the US president and the Russian premier, and they set up a hotline. So the hotline was a red telephone. It was shown symbolically sitting on the president's table. If any nuclear problem has to happen, he can just pick it up and he doesn't have to dial the number. It gets connected straight away. So I think you are getting a hotline to Bhagwan. So why would you not, look at that hotline to Bhagwan? And that's how I would look at it. If I was a devotee staying somewhere far away, not able to go as frequently as we can for Swami's darshan, that's how I would look at it. And that's all there is to it. Don't attribute anything more to it. That's all that we can say. See, in Central Trust, all of us, we give our everything we give to Swami. There's nothing that we don't give to Swami, right? So, and there is nothing that we expect or take from Bhagwan. There is nothing that we expect from Bhagwan. What is it? He has given us so much and so much more. So we are in a position to do seva for Swami. That is the object of all the members of Central Trust. I'm speaking for all of us. And same thing with All India President also. In the midst of our busy professional lives and other family commitments, so much of it that we spend for all these things. I'm not saying I'm doing a favor. It is an opportunity for me to do it. You see, I often give this example. One very senior lawyer one day mentioned to me to say, sir, you're handling, he's much older than me and more senior to me in the profession. He told me, Naganand, you are doing so much of Swami's work. Please give me one case in which you are appearing. I want to hold the file and stand next to you. You don't give me the case to argue. I am happy if you just give me the file. I want to stand next to you and do Swami's work. You are so blessed because Swami has given you this job, this opportunity to do work for Swami. So that is the humility with which, people who are Swami devotees, this is a Swami devotee because this gentleman's father was a judge in the High Court years ago. Swami visited their house and spent a lot of time in their family. So the whole family is devotees. But I'm saying that he didn't have the opportunity to come and be close to Swami for doing any of these things. Now, this is his sentiment. So that should be our sentiment. That Swami has given us an opportunity. He's given us a time for us to think of him, to contemplate him, and to be near him, and to connect to him. That we must not misuse, and we must use it to the complete potential. That is all my messages. And
Thank you so
wish
much.
and hope that Swami will bless all of us.
Thank you. Brother Nimish.
Very shortly, I just want to repeat myself that in the world of Sai organization, we are all here to improve ourselves only. We have no right to judge anybody else. We have no right to comment on anybody else. We have no right to criticize anybody. Consistently, self-improvement is the only purpose of this entire platform called the Sathya Sai Seva organization, whether it is in India or any part of the world. And to my mind, once again, when it comes to unifying under the name of Bhagwan Ji Sat Sai Baba, no logic, no interpretation, nothing should come in the way of only one decision. Let's all unite under the banner of Bhagwan Ji Sat Sai Baba, and staying close to Prashantinism is the safest and the wisest decision anybody can take on this earth, considering the situation in the world today. Aligning to Prashantinism, staying there safe is the biggest thing. In the words of Kabir, this great saint of India, he used to always say, "Do patan ke beech mein sabut bachana koi," meaning in between the two stones that grinds the grain, nobody is safe unless he remains stationary at the center. If you are there in the center, which is Prashantinism, you'll be safe in this entire world. And that is the only way we should look at, because Bhagwan came, created Prashantinism as the center, as the spiritual center of the world, and being aligned there and being positioned there is the safest thing you can ever do. Welcome to the world of safety. I request all my brothers and sisters of New Zealand, have no doubts. Trust yourself. And remember, Swami is the master. He is the doer. He plans. He is the game. He is the puppeteer. Let's not debate and distrust anything. Surrender at his lotus feet. Stay grounded in Prashantinism, and the world will be a beautiful place as we go further, and our rightful place as his instruments. Jai Sai Ram. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Nimish. We have not answered many questions, but they are mostly supplements the main questions that have been answered. And there are some questions which we received are very, very relevant only for the New Zealand. So at National Council, we are happy to answer those questions later on. We'll have individual sessions, probably as complete or individual centers or region wise, which we will plan. But if you have any further questions or anything, any comments or any requests you want to have for further meetings, please send into the webinar email itself, which is nzgcquestions@gmail.com. I repeat, nzgcquestions@gmail.com, so that we will fix up a time and we fix up a time and place or meeting and answer those questions. On behalf of New Zealand National Council, I would like to express my gratitude to Bhagavan first for making this webinar a grand success and clearing a lot of doubts. And most importantly, he is the one who spoke through each one of us and clarified our own doubts. Let's express our gratitude to him. And I would like to express my sincere thanks to Brother Ratnakar. He took a break in his travel and spent almost more than 2 hours to address all your questions. Thank you, Brother Ratnakar. And to Brother Naganand, very valuable time. Is a legal counsel in the Supreme Court of India, but he spent so much of time answering our questions. And Brother Nimish Pandya is busy with his professional as well as managing the entire Indian Satsai organization operations, but he took time and answered, and thank you very much for that. And all the devotees who took time on a weekend and attended the seminar, thank you so much. Sai Ram. We'll conclude with Samastaloka and Tri Shantis. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Sai.
Thank you to everybody.
Jai Sai Ram. Thank you,
Sai
everyone.
Ram.
Thank you.
Thank you all for.
Mahesh, Murali, thank you. Naganand, Sai Ram, Ratnakar.
Thank you.
Sai Ram.
Thank you.
Mahesh and Murali. Thank you.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.